The Liberals attempting to table back-to-work legislation as week 5 of the college strike comes to an end, but the NDP blocking the bill from being introduced. So what do striking staff think of this whole process? Let's get over to Tammy Sutherland. You have on standby union spokesperson JP Hornick with you. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Melanie. That's right. We have JP Hornick from OPSU here with us. First off, tell us your thoughts about the fact that back-to-work legislation was attempted yesterday and then blocked by the NDP.
I mean, I think that what we have happening here is that the council failed to make any movement in negotiations, even after being directed to by the premier and deputy premier, and so they had to step in and try and introduce this legislation. This legislation doesn't include any guidance on, what our current working conditions are. If we have an existing collective agreement, there's no return to work protocol about how to get us back into classes and salvage this semester at the direction of the colleges. This was a point that they are very adamant about. So, I'm as concerned as anyone about how this is going to play out over the next few days.
Okay, so there's no idea what students can expect in terms of trying to salvage at least the semester that has passed?
Yeah, I mean, faculty will, I'm sure, do an immense amount of work trying to do this, but, we need some direction about how we're getting back into the classrooms, not just that the colleges are reopening. I mean, we've lost 5 weeks of class. We have 5 weeks of our faculty being on the lines, our students walking with us, but, starting this back up isn't just a simple process of get back in your classroom. It's about how do you actually meet those learning outcomes.
Now, there were reports that OPSU had asked that each member receive a $5,000 bonus for signing this contract. Is that the case?
No, that was absolutely untrue and terrible misinformation. I mean, the College Council has an independent public relations firm that is putting out incredible misinformation on this. What we had asked for in the 2 hours or 2.5 hours that the Premier gave us to find a deal was we said, let's go to status quo, the items we've agreed on, and a return to work protocol that will actually get faculty into the classrooms well. We also asked for our faculty to be reimbursed for the 2 extra weeks that Council prolonged the strike for this forced offer vote that our people rejected at 86%. 95% of our members voted and rejected this offer. Council refused to budge at all. They made 0 moves in the period of time that the Premier directed them to get creative and find a deal, and instead they continued to stonewall.
And lastly, your thoughts on the NDP blocking this legislation. We know that eventually it will pass, so to block it now is again delaying the return to class. Your thoughts on that?
Look, right now what the NDP is doing is actually standing up for workers. I mean, what they've told us to do is get back into the classrooms, but there's no guidance on how to do that. So imposing back-to-work legislation that has no protections for the faculty who've actually been on strike for 5 weeks. We want to be back in the classrooms, but I understand why the NDP is doing what they're doing. Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much. Again, that's JP Hornick from OPSU. Again, that back-to-work legislation will be, of course, the topic of debate at Queen's Park starting later this afternoon.